I am Jeffrey Villadwen in the Kingdom of Sweden campaign from 1648, 30 Years of War, a mod for Medieval 2 Total War Kingdoms by Infractor. So we are now still at the end of January 1632. If you remember, we were considering attacking Mühlhausen, so here's the King of Sweden, and we will move on to the next game turn. A unit went into that fort. I had forgotten to move. I'm going to show you today 3 battles. The last one will be a very big field battle. And I'm also going to show you a couple of tricks about this campaign. So here, an enemy merchant, Stanislav Sentivogius, is trying to acquire one of our merchants, but he failed. That Polish army very cleverly, instead of besieging that fort, since he had no more infantry, decided to attack our reinforcements, our relief force that was coming under Reinhold Andrep. So we're facing an open battle where I was hoping to have a siege. We would have the advantage over the enemy cavalry. So the loss of one man is the gain of another. Another quote from Robert Monroe. That was how Charles Darwin got his idea about natural selection.
Units, await my orders.
And so here I have to be very inventive now, because I was not planning on a siege. I was not planning on a field battle, I was planning on a siege. So the garrison is coming actually as reinforcements, and Reinhold Andrep is being attacked. And here is the relief force. It was the intended relief force. Now they have to fight the cavalry in the open. So what I'll have to do is be inventive and hope for the best. And so what I'm going to do is put those carts, those horse-drawn carriages, those wagons, at the front. Here's the enemy army, slowly moving in our direction, like some kind of wagon fort or something. They are modded elephants. So there are elephants that have been turned into carts for this mode, horse-drawn carriages. And so here's the reinforcements from the garrison. And so what I'm going to do is, since, as you know, elephants are very good against horses, they have some similar characteristics, not unreasonably, because horses cannot charge carts. And so they're used as wagon forts. They're supposed to be supply wagons, but anyway. So here's the enemy force. By the way, it's 3 companies of winged hussars. That's all they have. So as I was saying, cavalry is not very good charging these sort of wagons that could sometimes be formed into wagon forts. And so what I'm going to do is put them at the front as some kind of forlorn hope to break the charge of the enemy cavalry. Hopefully they will do that. And then I'll mix in some of these swordsmen from the garrison to help them fight the enemy cavalry. And I'll send in some pikemen to support them. And we have another 2 blocks of pikes, and they will form 2 small Spanish tertius. The weather is an atrocious weather we have today. The enemy is still... Okay, they've decided to move. They're going to attack in the snowstorm. So we have atrocious weather today, but what can you do? Hopefully the snow will clear up and we'll be able to see what's going on. That's one of the advantages. Or the disadvantages. One of the advantages is that usually snow is not helping enemy cavalry, so that's to our advantage. But snow is also very good for missile units, and we have a lot of missile units. But we mainly base our defense on our pikemen, so that's not such a huge deal that it is snowing. It's probably good for us. So the enemy wing hussars are moving slowly in our direction, and as I said, we have two small tertius, and at the front we have, as a kind of forlorn hope or something, we have the wagons, a group of swordsmen and a group of spearmen. That was our general behind the pikemen. The enemy wing hussars are slowly advancing. They haven't started charging yet. There's still some distance away. So here's our army. And I hope this tactic will work. This isn't the best situation for us, but what can you do? So here are the pikemen at the back of the wagon fort. Here's one of the tertius. And the cavalry now has made their appearance. We have no cavalry of our own except the general's bodyguard. And so it looks like they're splitting into two groups, or maybe three. One of the groups of wing hussars will attack one of our tertius, the other tertius, and then the central one will attack the wagon fort. So we're moving our pikemen forward a little bit too late. We're a little bit too slow doing that. I was hoping they wouldn't attack so I could take a shot with them with musketeers, but they have attacked straight away. So we have to move our musketeers back now. And here is the fight in the wagon fort. So the damaged one or two of the cars. Here goes another one. Units are holding though, especially the pikemen at the back are doing well. And so here's the fight with the tertius. Here's the left tertius. We're pulling away our musketeers. They've been engaged in melee, but they're not very good. The snowstorm is clearing, finally. But our pikemen are holding. I have kept these pre-reform pikemen. I've only kept the best units of pre-reform pikemen, and I put them in the forts because they're free upkeep. Whereas they no longer get free upkeep in the actual main cities, in the large cities, but they get free upkeep in the forts. So the best quality pre-reform pike and musket units have gone into forts, and so the garrison of this fort has quite a few of these pre-reform units. So that's one of the tricks that you can do. I've already talked about it in the past, but in case you have forgotten. After the reform event kicks in, you can put the best of these units that you have, which no longer get free upkeep, you can put them into forts. And so, unfortunately, the wagon fort has been destroyed. There's one wagon here, the horses have gone on a rampage, like the elephants do. And they've gone through one of our units, possibly causing some casualties. Eventually, they died against the pikes. The right-hand tertius has held up very well. The left-hand tertius is still struggling. In the middle, the double-handers have been all slain by now. But the pikemen are holding. And we have some units firing, some of these shot units, but unfortunately this one will be charged, so the enemy cavalry decided they are a juicy target, so they attacked one of the dragoon units that was shooting from the rear. And it looks like one of the enemy wing hussars units has retreated. The other one is charging this group of pikemen here that were close to the wagon fort. And we have killed the enemy captain. He was with his unit here. Captain Odolan, and he's dead. And so these pikemen now are very depleted. They were mercenary pikemen. They were in the garrison. They came out. They're very depleted now, but they're holding. And the other group of pikemen here is coming to their aid from the tertia, from the right-hand tertia. The musketeers are all shooting at this unit now, which is engaged in melee with the other group of pikemen. So the pikemen have become very depleted, but they're holding their ground. That's the good thing. And it looks by now like we're winning this battle. Okay, a victory. I had turned the sound, the voice down by mistake, but we managed to rout the last Wing Hussars unit, so they're retreating. Here they are, and our cavalry is chasing after them. Actually, I had two cavalry units, the two generals' bodyguards, the one with the relief force and the other one that came with the garrison. And so now you can see them here. The two general bodyguards are chasing after the routed Wing Hussars. And the Wing Hussars, because of their large wings, are a little bit heavy and slow moving, so we can catch up with them. They are one of the slowest cavalry units in the game, but also one of the heaviest melee cavalry unit. One of the heaviest melee cavalry units in the mod. And I'm not sure if in reality they had these feathers in battle. I think they probably use them more for show in parades and so on. I expect they didn't have them in battle, but people like to portray them with the wings. And so the wings have somehow become emblematic. So we caught up with this unit of Wing Hussars, and the other general is chasing after the other unit. We've nearly caught up with them, but it looks like they will probably escape. Oh, they killed one. Oh, they just caught up with them. Okay. So they caught up with them just in time, but half of them escaped, and now both generals' lifeguards will attack this other unit of Wing Hussars. And so that was the battle. It wasn't an easy one. Our stratagem worked. We lost the supply wagons, but what can you do? It was worth a trade. So that was a clever move by the AI. They could have just stayed and kept siege, but they didn't do that. So we had a lot of casualties, as you can see. We lost about 3 times as many men as the enemy, but the total enemy force was as strong as ours in quality. So it was a reasonably good trade if you look at it that way, and we managed to keep the fort. We don't need all those units in the first place, so might as well use them for something. And so we have taken some prisoners, and we will offer them up for ransom. But the ransom was rejected by the Poles, who are very stingy. And so, God knows what happened to the winged hussars. They'll go and build some Protestant churches, maybe. And so here is the other fort that had a garrison. It's one of the closest into Polish heartland, so it's been under siege. And here is the Schloss, the hunting lodge where the former emperor resided. He's now gone rebel. You can see this rebel unit there is the former emperor, the Austrian or the Holy Roman Empire. He went rebel, and now his empire is being ruled by his son, as it happened in reality around this time in history. Coincidentally, this is the Bayreuth faction of the Bayreuth faction. I don't know if it was Duchy or no, it wasn't Duchy. It was Landgraviate or something. I can't remember. Here's the Transylvanians, the Siebenbürgen. They are still outside Iglau, but they don't seem to want to lay siege on it. And that's the end of this turn. So here's that fort, Strasbourg, with Reinhold Anrep. Queues have been installed every month it happens. We're the second strongest militarily and overall, next to the Imperial Archduchy of Austria, that is the Kaiser. Next to the Kaiser, we're the strongest. And so as I said, here's that fort, Strasbourg, that the winged hussars were attacking. Now everyone has gone into the fort. And I'll probably have to get rid of some of these units. Maybe what I'll do first is make full strength units, and then what's left over, I will probably disband them. So we'll disband. So I hand out, there's only 3 of them, there's no point. We cannot retrain them, there's mercenaries, so we can only merge them or disband them, that's all you can do. And so we'll disband also these 66 mercenary. No, it was one other unit. Anyway, so it disbanded one of the other units. And I will also maybe try and merge the dragoons and then disband the smaller dragoon unit potentially. To make room so I don't waste money on units that I'm not likely to ever have to use again. They're constant in upkeep, so alright, that's enough.
Yes. An honor, sire.
And maybe we don't need 2 generals here, so maybe take one of them and put him back into one of the bigger towns so he gets some rest and he can recover. Because if you keep them out in the country too long, then their movement range decreases. Because they're out of supplies and then they have to forage, and then now and then it's good to put them back into the big cities so they get supplied, and so the movement range then increases. So here's the area of Silesia. Here's the hunting lodge that I was talking about, where the diplomatic shenanigans usually take place, and you can see the enemy, the Austrian emperor, the former emperor, has gone rebel. As a result of old age, he's becoming a grumpy old man, and he's hired some mercenaries to serve as his bodyguard while he's staying in one of the rooms of his old hunting lodge with all the diplomats around, still discussing diplomacy. Not so much with him anymore, unfortunately, but they can discuss with the delegates in the hunting lodge, so that's still okay. And so here we're back to Mühlhausen. We are contemplating attacking Mühlhausen. while the settlements the Austrians have taken in the area of what would be here Anhalt, I suppose. Upper Saxony and
Yes, noble
Anhalt,
sire.
close to
An order.
Brunswick.
My liege.
And so that was the king. Here's Gustav Horn, with just a couple of units.
The Kaiser's finest yearn
There
to
is
face you in battle.
an enemy army
Face you
nearby.
in battle. It is the honorable way to
I
resolve
don't think we try to avoid that army. I don't think we need to attack it. Here's the garrison of Mühlhausen, very strong.
I'm not yours.
Okay, some pirates, just a ship, nothing to worry about.
Come and face
There's
the
a
might of the
small
Rhine, coward.
imperialist army here, next to this fort. Gotha. Fort of Gotha. And we have some of our allies there, those Brunswickers, so maybe we can bring some more units and then attack those rebels.
Yes, sire.
Those that Austrian unit. So that could be a job for Gustav Horn. Here I'm going to show you a trick.
Sire.
So one thing you have to do with the Kingdom of Sweden is, because it's it needs to bring armies and maintain them in order to fight the Austrians.
How can we help?
They need to get war subsidies, and if you have very good standing and reputation, you can do that. So here we're offering to attack the marauders and give them some money. As a result, they offer us 1,010 florins to do that.
So we are.
That's a little bit exceptional to offer you that much money. That's because our standing is so good. And so we're doing the same with the Imperial Archduchy of Austria, and we also offer them some money. And they give us another war subsidy to attack Austria. We're going to attack them anyway. They'll give you more money if you attack them and you're not yet at war. If you declare war at them, they will give you more money. But the AI is interested in this. And so we do the same with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. The AI is interested in this because it thinks they want to get you to trouble. They want to get you to fight the AI armies, because the AI armies are bigger, they're more numerous and so on. So they're in favor of this. And so at the end I gave 100 florins as a gift to cheer them up a little bit. Okay, I give another 100 florins. And so some of the allies, if you have exceptionally good standing, you see, outstanding, and military might, trustworthy, if you're really, really very good, and you haven't been attacking and betraying your allies or doing anything fishy, then your allies are sometimes willing to do that if they have the money. And a lot of your allies are bankrupt, like the County Palatinate of the Rhine, the County Palatine, the Palatinate, and so they don't have money. We offer attacks and marauders and this and that, and so they don't attack, but we then give them as a gift. We give them as a gift these attacks. So attacks against the marauders, against the Imperial Archduchy of Austria, and against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Just, they don't want to give us money, so we give them as gifts these attacks. Why? Because that helps, makes them happy, and so it improves our standing. And so you see, our relations are perfect because we've been doing this all the time. Even though they don't give us any money, they've been bankrupt for years. They don't give us any money, but we keep doing this, giving them as a gift these attacks, because it improves relations. And so here's trouble stalking outside Baden. So Baden is one of our strongest allies, but they're about, it seems, to be attacked by Spain. I think at the moment they're not they're not at war with Spain, but it looks like the Spanish have brought two very big armies, or reasonably big armies, and the garrison is very small.
Yes,
So we can see what's going on thanks to our diplomat who's there. So let's see, I don't think they are currently at war with Spain. Gravity of Baden, no, they're not at war with anyone. No, they are at war with Duchy of Bavaria only, but not with Spain. Okay, that's unfortunate. There's not much I can do to help them. And Württemberg is very weak, so they're on their own. Okay, so here's the situation back in East Franconia. And so I've decided to attack that small Austrian unit, because not only do you pledge to attack units or enemy factions, but you have to do it. If you don't do it, your allies get crossed once I gave you war subsidies. So you have to do it as soon as possible. And within 15 game turns at the very latest. But as soon as possible. The sooner you do it, the better. And so I'm going to attack the Austrians to begin with, and also attack Rebel Harbor that I keep blocking or blockading. And then I'll attack the Polish as well. And so here I have to get more pikemen for Gustav Adolf, because spike units are becoming depleted. He has a lot of musketeers, but he needs more pikemen, so I have to find pikemen somewhere. I don't have any pikemen. I have lots of musketeers, and dragoons and so on, but no pikemen. That's a bit of a problem. So I sent some cavalry to the Scots and some artillery as well. I sent some artillery to the king.
Yes, sire. Merging armies, my lord. Your will, sire. Joining forces, my lord.
An honor, sire.
Ideally, I want to have 2 cavalry units per army and one cannon unit. All these other smaller units can come here to help Gustav Horn in his attack against that small imperialist army. And so this unit,
My liege.
one of these can probably go with the Scots, I think. It's a Scottish unit anyway. Both of them are Scottish. Okay. And these 2 can go to this fort, and then from the fort they can attack the small unit, and maybe Brunswick will help us, the Brunswick army.
Sir, we're combining forces. Hail, my king.
Let's attack.
Sire.
Okay, they retreated.
As you will, my king. To battle.
Predictably.
Glory, honor, victory. I will not waste words with the enemy.
Glory, honor, victory. However, they retreated, and now the Brunswickers will not help us. But we can handle them on our own, that's okay. I'm thinking whether I should send more units, but I think I have enough, I think. We can win. We don't need more units. It's gonna be an easy battle.
By your command.
Yes, noble sire.
Sire.
Assembling a mighty host of your troops, sire. As you command, my liege.
The king commands you to go into battle.
Muster your courage, men. We march into battle.
So we have some depleted cavalry units, very depleted, but we can harass the enemy with those.
Units, await my orders.
Okay. So as I said, we'll send the cavalry to skirmish on the flanks, and musketeers can stay in the middle. We also have a small pike unit that I brought from the other fort. A depleted pike unit. I mean, they have to get back to become retrained. They have to go all the way up to Stralsund to become retrained. It's very annoying, or Rostock or thereabouts. So that's an annoying thing. This is something actually I might change, because recent research indicates that the so-called Swedish regiments eventually became full of Germans, because the Swedes died in the campaign, and so Germans were recruited. Robert Monum calls them Dutch, that is Deutsch. Deutsch in Scottish sounds like Dutch, sort of thing. So he calls them Dutch, but they were Germans. And it's also been archaeological evidence that very strongly suggests that nearly all so-called Swedish regiments near the end of the war had Germans in them. They were not Swedes anymore left, maybe a couple of officers or something. That's from evidence from graves, excavated tombs, or whatever, places where soldiers had been found in Lützen and places like that. So here is the enemy musketeer unit. It's very troublesome because it's quite a good musketeer unit, and these musketeers will not be persuaded to rout when cavalry approaches them, and they can put out very high rate of fire, very deadly fire. However, if you bring cavalry on both sides, sometimes they get confused, and that's what has happened here. And so they don't know which way to turn, basically, and where to shoot, and they cannot really shoot very well sideways. And our musketeers are a long distance away, and so they're a little bit, they're concerned about the cavalry on their sides. And although the musketeers here are within range, they will not even fire at the musketeers. They managed to rout one of our cavalry units earlier. One of the very small units, the Italian cuirassiers. And the pikemen that were with them are these tertiary pikemen, who are extremely good pikemen, as you know. These are possibly the best pikemen in the game. And so the enemy units here are only 2 units, but very high quality and full strength. And so our cavalry now is skirmishing away. It's been threatened by those pikemen, but the musketeers have been massacred because they are so confused and they do not know which side to turn and shoot. They're not shooting anyone. The pikemen are advancing against our cavalry. The cavalry is skirmishing away. The unit of Italian cuirassiers that have been routed is been rallied, and now it's going back to skirmish. And a small cavalry charge here killed the enemy general, and the enemy musket unit. The enemy musket unit routed. It wasn't a general, it was only a captain, but he was killed by that charge that you just saw. That was one thing you can try and do. If you kill the enemy captain, the commander of the enemy army in this way, then the enemy army will suffer a morale hit, or a morale decrease when you do that. And at least that company got routed. And so what we're doing here is we are now shooting at this unit with every musket and pistol we have, and maybe some arquebuses. No, the generals have carbines. Carbines were flintlock arquebuses, by the way. they were easier to use, obviously, with cavalry. Cavalry generally had flintlock pistols, flintlock muskets, not muskets, flintlock arquebuses, but arquebusiers sometimes had not flintlock muskets, and dragoons had matchlock muskets or arquebuses. So in any case, we are harassing the enemy cavalry, the enemy pikemen here with our cavalry, as you see. We are skirmishing around them with our cavalry. And in the meantime, our other units are shooting from the distance, these various musketeers and dragoons. And so we finally routed them. They were surrounded and being shot from every side. They were suffering casualties, and so they were routed. And now we're taking some prisoners, and so that went well. The important thing is, I guess, at this point, that Gustav Horn is a chivalrous general, and so we had numerical superiority, and overall we're stronger. So I hope he doesn't lose chivalry from this battle. This is a worry. So I'm going to release, I think, the prisoners that we're catching here.
All of Christendom will be awed by the victory we have won here today.
To avoid Gustav Horn becoming more dreadful. Or becoming dreadful. Okay, so we lost only 9 men. That wasn't so bad. The enemy lost 406. And our Liebenstein cuirassiers even got some experience, and the other cuirassiers, both groups of cuirassiers, got experience because of catching all those prisoners, I suppose. And so I'm going to release the prisoners.
Lurking in the trees for an opportunity to strike, sire.
Bitte, God will see your mercy, my lord.
Release the enemy troops. Okay, they got away. An honorable and glorious victory. So here's Gustav Horn, aspiring commander. He gained in command, and he didn't lose chivalry. So he has three marks of chivalry. So that's good. So here's that other battle. You remember the Poles laid siege on this medieval fort, and quite by luck, they had a general who was bringing some reinforcements in the direction of Breslau, and he happened to be next to this fort, and so he can now reinforce. So that's lucky. So he can come now and relieve the siege.
Yes, sire. Ja, mein Kaiser.
Orders. As you wish, sire.
So Captain Albrecht is coming with, is starting out, and Gabriel Hansdorter is coming with reinforcements. That was the enemy army.
Give them no quarter this day, men. Take up arms and take victory!
So the enemy has some wing hussars, 2 companies of wing hussars, and lots of musketeers. The Polish did not have so many pikemen. They had some, but their army was based mainly on cavalry and muskets.
My lord, the tide of battle seems to have turned against us. We must act and halt this turn of events.
Not to worry, you have reinforcements coming. So Gabriel Hansdorter is coming with reinforcements, and we put the dragoons on the walls as usual, and part of the garrison is sallying out with Captain Albrecht. Captain Albrecht is on a cavalry unit. So there was a somewhat depleted unit of pre-reform arquebusiers in the garrison, and he's in that unit. And so what we are going to do is we're going to put pikemen outside together with that company It's a company of King's Lifeguard. For some reason got stranded and ended up here. We only have 2 companies of the King's Lifeguard, and neither is with the King. One is in East Franconia, but the other one is here. And so what we're trying to do now is we're trying to entice the enemy to move in our direction. And our general has gone to fire some long shots with his lifeguard. And that has teased them a little bit. And so they're moving in our direction. Also these Hakebusius here with Captain Albrecht are making a show of skirmishing or attacking. There's been some fire from the walls, but the enemy decided to retreat. So we're shooting at their backs. That's something. I don't know if we're causing any casualties because they're some distance away. Killed a couple of infantrymen, a couple of musketeers. That's about it. Killed a handful of musketeers. That's not so bad. So here are the Polish musketeers, post-reform, very beautiful. At least I think so. Not quite as beautiful as the wing hussars. So all these units were custom made for this mod. I don't know if this mod has taken any units, I can't remember. I think there's some medieval peasants or something. But nearly all the units are custom made for this mod, and the people who did the units did an amazing amount of work, and the quality, I think, is very good. They look very harmonious, they're very similar, because they were made, I think they were made by 2 modders, not just by 1, but they had the same approach. So been teasing them with the general's bodyguard. You see that cloud of gunpowder smoke. That's our general. Here he is. He's firing with his carbines, and so now he's skirmishing away. And he's trying to tease the Polish to attack us. And you can see there's the relief force has joined the salient. Here's Captain Albrecht with his Hakebusius. They're firing into the sides of the wing hussars as they're moving forward. And it looks like the wing hussars have resolved to attack our men. Here they attacked the salient with the company of King's Lifeguard here in light blue. They're a good unit, but they're not much better than ordinary post-reform musketeers. Except that you can get them before the post-reform event kicks in, the reform event kicks in. So before that event, obviously they're a very good unit. So the enemy wing hussars have been routed. Here we have some grenadiers on the walls. We're throwing some grenades at the slowly retreating wing hussars, and that's going to help them make up their minds and move on. Now you may think grenadiers is a term you hear in Napoleonic warfare and so on, or later warfare. You think maybe this time there weren't grenadiers. There were, except the grenades at this time were called fireworks. And sometimes you find this term fireworks in various places, in manuals, in historical sort of writing and so on. And it means grenades. So when you see fireworks at this period, it means grenades. And grenades were being used at this time. And so here's Captain Albrecht with his arquebusiers, and they're harassing these enemy musketeers who are skirmishing away, trying to get away. They could have stopped and shot. They would have had an advantage because there are more of them, they have more muskets, but they didn't. Not very well commanded. If they had a better commander, they might do that. And the other units are just kind of retreating, I suppose. One good thing about that unit of Cossack musketeers is that they are very spread out. They're in loose formation of some sort. And so they don't suffer many casualties, so that's a good trick. And so for this reason I decided to focus this unit that's more compact. It's also musketeers, but they are not so loose. They don't have such a loose formation. And I'm also shooting at the side of the retreating winged hussars. And there's also some fire from the walls, but the dragoons that are on the walls. And the winged hussars just have to take it because they are slower than the arquebusiers, and they don't have firearms. I don't know if in reality they would have had firearms. I suppose some of them would have in real history, but in the mod they don't. They attack with swords and spears. They charge with spears and then they take out the swords in melee. Okay, they've had enough of this, so they are going back towards our infantry, and our cavalry is shadowing them and shooting at their sides. So our arquebusiers keep skirmishing as the enemy cavalry very slowly is making their way towards the sally out and the reinforcements. There's also fire from the walls. And this unit of enemy musketeers has stopped. The enemy cavalry continues advancing, albeit slowly, under fire from our arquebusiers. Now they are within range of our musketeers, so the relief force has opened fire. And the lifeguard of Gustavus has also opened fire. They're shooting now then, here, let's see. It's very interesting. Not all of them are shooting because they have pikemen in front of them. But the guys on the sides are shooting. See? It's very clever. And the enemy cavalry is parading once again in front of our grenadiers, but unfortunately there's a dead zone. And I think the grenadiers will not hurt them this time. Oh no, no, they hit them. Just one grenade. Okay, another charge by the winged hussars. must be very tired. They're moving very slowly. That was a pathetic charge. You haven't killed anyone. Okay, they're just dying. Now, this is not going to cut it. You know, they're just dying. Okay, they've given up. They've lost 5 or 6 men or so, maybe more.
The battle is very much in our favor. If we remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours.
They were being shot.
Half the enemy force remains.
Okay, the enemy lost half their force. They were being shot at the side as well. And so here back to this unit of arquebusiers, and they are harassing the enemy musketeers. They probably routed that unit. And there are still a couple of enemy musketeer units in good order, but the rest seem to have been routed. There is one unit here that's still fighting. No, 2 units. Now those Cossacks, and then there's a unit of regular infantry. The Cossacks are skirmishing back. The Cossacks are like dragoons, and dragoons like to skirmish. But other infantry sometimes doesn't skirmish, they stay in place. So Captain Albrecht is carrying the day. He's causing a ton of damage on the enemy army. If damage can be measured in tons. So these 2 units are still in good order. They still keep fighting. The Cossacks are skirmishing, and the regulars are holding their ground. But they're being shot now from the walls as well as by the arquebusiers, and they don't know which way to turn. You see, they're trying to turn around. Some of them turn one way, some the other. And they're not shooting. Well, they can't decide which way to turn to shoot. They're not shooting. And so they're being massacred. Their captain was slain. Okay, they had it. They had it, they're broken, and they retreat. And now we can run after them. There must be one more unit that's in good order, because we didn't get the message that the enemy army has been routed. Yeah, there's a unit still fighting, some musketeers in the background.
Is very much in our favor. If we remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours. The enemy general flees like the coward he is. Press onward and break the spirit of his army.
Okay, the enemy general was probably with this unit here. It looks like it. Or the enemy commander is not a general. So here's this is our general's bodyguard here, and we taken prisoner or killed the enemy commander, Captain Mies.
It's time to press the attack.
Okay, so we've broken all their units. Captain Mies Nizzetko, something like that. Okay, we just barely made it. Right. Oh, he was just pretending to be dead, but now he's dead for real. And we're mopping up all the enemy units, all those fleeing. So it was lucky that that ship was stationed by with the units that were on the way to Breslau or to Liegnitz for the imminent attack on Breslau. So one target will be Breslau and the other one will be Mühlhausen. Whichever falls first will finish the campaign. And so I guess that was a battle.
All of Christendom will be awed by the victory we have won here today.
Here's Johann Hansdorter. And we lost 104 men. Not surprising, but I guess it was from the lifeguard of the king that got charged by the winged hussars. The arquebusiers did very well. They gained in experience.
If the enemy finds us,
We'll offer them up for ransom. The ransom was rejected. And so this siege has
The day is ours, sire.
also been lifted.
an honor.
Well, there's more trouble brewing in the horizon. There's more armies coming in this direction. There's another army there.
Party away, sire.
Okay, but we have to move this guy towards Wohlau and Liegnitz eventually. Unfortunately, they seem they cannot reach in one move.
An honor, sire.
No, they will reach. So the infantry itself will reach, but not the general. He's run out of supplies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm checking there whether if I put them in that fort, then next move, next turn, maybe he can get to Wohlau, but never mind. Just get him straight to Wohlau, kind of outside Wohlau. Okay, and I'm going to retrain some of the units in Wohlau, and then select the best ones and send them to Liegnitz or to Breslau, in the direction of Breslau, eventually.
Sire, my lord.
So two of the better units going to the ship. And we're back in East Franconia. So how are we going to approach this attack? I think I'm going to attack that unit that's outside. Hopefully the garrison will come out. And if we can destroy the garrison, then we can take Mühlhausen this turn in February. But we have to cause 90% or higher casualties on the enemy.
Hail, my king.
So I need more pikemen, so I'm going to recruit all the melee units I can get. And what I'm going to do with these pikemen is I'm going to send them to flank the enemy, because the enemy has a lot of cavalry. And I don't have many pikemen in the king's army. With Gustavus, he mostly has musketeers. So here's the army of Gustavus. He has 6 companies of pikemen, the rest is musketeers. And so I'm going to get those newly hired units and I'm going to send them as a forlorn hope into the flanks of the enemy, hopefully where the cavalry will be, so they can engage the cavalry, so they don't attack our pikemen. That's my plan. And can get that unit from the Scottish lot, reinforcements. So there are 3 units of the sort of melee units, I guess, and there's reinforcing army. Yeah, I don't have any more to send. I'm very low on pikemen, unfortunately. And so Gustavus has enough pikemen for 2 regiments. Okay, so let's go into battle. So Jacob Ernst the Wrathful from the Duchy of Brunswick will come to help us. Captain Johannes will be controlled by the AI. So another battle of 5 armies. It's going to be a field battle. So here's the army of the Duchy of Brunswick. And here's the first enemy army that we are attacking outside Mühlhausen. This is the second. This is the garrison of Mühlhausen. So here's again the Brunswick army. Here's the army we're attacking. Hakebusius exclusively. They were outside Brunswick, outside Mühlhausen. Here's the garrison of Mühlhausen. A lot of cavalry. That's why I need pikemen. And that's the full army, 20 units. Five armies, another huge battle by medieval two total war standards. So let's go into battle. We receive them with volleys of cannon and musket in their teeth. So this is going to be a rather long episode, all of February 1632, over an hour. But we're nearly there. It's near the end. Okay, we're on the battlefield. And so our army is deployed in the Swedish formation. It looks very glorious.
The time for battle has come. But it is not my way to send men into needless peril or throw lives away. Be assured, I will not ask any more of you than I would ask of myself. I ask only that you fight with honor and do not turn your back to the foe. Together then, we will have victory, for such is to my taste and my custom in battle. Over there stands a miserable collection of sausage-eating, beer-swilling imperial pudding heads. I think they will welcome death.
Hurrah!
The enemy have brought guns to this battle. Guns! The weapons of cowards and women. But this may be tricky, for we have no heavily armored troops to assault them directly. And now at them, lads!
Hurrah! So, I'll go kind of through the army, what it looks like in the Swedish formation. So, these are the Hofane Hakebusius. It's a mercenary unit. No, it's not a mercenary unit. You can get it from from Dresden, I think. Here's a unit of Cuirassiers. Post-reformed Cuirassiers. And here's one unit of musketeers of the Red Regiment. I'm not 100% sure that the Red Regiment existed. I have a feeling there was something like a Red Battalion, something. Could have been. And here is just a pure yellow brigade or regiment with yellow brigade units. You can see them, pikemen and musketeers in the Swedish formation. There's a unit of leather cannon there. There's another unit of musketeers back here. Here's our king. There he is, very glorious. Looking very much like Gustavus Adolphus. And so... Okay, so here in the middle are these leather cannons here. Leather cannon. And over here it's going to be mostly... Okay, I'm going to change this. Yellow brigade, I'm going to put the blue brigade here. Put these at the back. And the rest of it... Okay, I've done that. And so here it is. So we have yellow brigade on the left, just a regiment. And blue brigade on the right, again just a regiment. All pure brigade, except one pike unit. There's a mercenary pikemen here, you see these ones, the green ones. But all the rest are blue brigade. And we have some extra musketeers who put them on the flanks. And here we have a unit of these Italian cuirassiers that Monty decided to call Piccolomini cuirassiers, which I'm in two minds about because they don't always fight for Piccolomini. Yeah, sometimes they fight against Piccolomini. Okay, so here's our king again, and let's go into battle. So, Captain Johannes is bringing up those melee units as a forlorn hope, and that was the Brunswick army. And we're going to try and take the hill, but unfortunately the enemy cavalry is attacking, the enemy arquebusiers. So we cannot really take the hill. We moved up, halfway up the hill, and the enemy arquebusiers are now skirmishing. We have more firepower, so hopefully that will scare them off. And hopefully they will not charge us. That's why I dare to move onto the hill, because arquebusiers usually don't charge you. Usually. Okay, lucky. Okay, the reinforcements have arrived. So this is the Brunswick army, and they've charged the enemy arquebusiers. They scare them off. And there are also those Italian cuirassiers. They are flanking them, they charge them. But the enemy arquebusiers, if you remember, they were triple silver chevrons, so they're not going to break so easily. They are much better quality than my Italian cuirassiers. Although the Italian cuirassiers are slightly better in melee, but the enemy is not going to break so easily. So there, this was the king. So the king attacked their flank. So this unit here is the king's lifeguard, Gustavus. So in blue you see the Duchy of Brunswick units. And this other blue there, these are the three melee units under Captain Johan, the forlorn hope I was hoping to use, but they're such a long way away they cannot help with anything at the moment. And so the enemy garrison now has sallied out, and you see them slowly coming our way, but the Brunswick army has gone down the hill, and the entire Brunswick army, almost except their general, has become a kind of forlorn hope. And we've taken positions on the hill and we can shoot at them from above. So that suits us fine. I would have liked to have my pikemen in the mix because I think the Brunswickers don't have any pikemen. Hurry up, pikemen. The enemy has a lot of cavalry, and the Brunswickers I think have no pikemen, or maybe they have one unit. It's mostly musketeers and a couple of halberd units. Yeah, you see, they're mostly musketeers, dragoons, a very depleted unit with halberds. Oh, these guys are halberd. No, they're musketeers. Musketeers, they have some Italian cuirassiers. They have some of these other cuirassiers, or reiters, whatever they are. Unfortunately, no pikemen at all. I haven't seen any pikemen so far. The only pikemen we have here, they're coming. And this is, look how unfortunate. This is really unfortunate. The only unit that I didn't want to engage with this pikemen were the enemy Imperial Tertiary. I mean, this is why I have all those musketeers to shoot at the Imperial Tertiary. And the reinforcements, instead of going to attack the enemy cavalry, they went to engage with the Imperial Tertiary. What a waste. You're not gonna beat the Imperial Tertiary. Go away so I can shoot at them. Oh, this is just so annoying. I brought a cavalry unit, these cuirassiers, and they're shooting at the back of the Imperial Tertiary. This is just totally wrong. The only unit you should have not engaged is the Imperial Tertiary. Any other unit, there's so much cavalry. I brought you for the cavalry. Oh, never mind. The Brunswickers are dealing with the enemy cavalry. And they're also shooting at the backs of those Imperial Tertiary pikemen. Okay, the Brunswickers also have these turncoats. They have some units with halberds and the like, pole arms and so on, but they don't have any pikemen. Do they have any pikemen? Oh, they have a pike unit here. So these are some of my... No, these are not my Italian cuirassiers. I have the Italian cuirassiers on one flank. They're trying to stop the enemy units from routing in that direction, but suddenly it looks like the enemy has decided to just retreat from battle. Intact, without breaking, they're going back into Mühlhausen. They decided this was a bad idea. They're all retreating. So annoying. Victory. They retreated. We couldn't catch up with them. It's just so annoying. And so they're going back into Mühlhausen. I needed to kill 90% of them at least, and I don't think I've done so. Anyway, I can take as many prisoners as I can. The more prisoners I take, the less troublesome the taking of Mühlhausen will be. So I haven't shown you all the battle because I was really busy macromanaging. So I've shown you excerpts of the battle. And this particular unit here has backed out. It didn't come fully into battle, it got stuck. It's an enemy unit. Okay, the game finished anyway. So we lost 139 men only. The Fallen Hope completely failed and lost 329. 2/3 of them died. And as you can see, nearly half the garrison of Mühlhausen and parts of the arquebusiers that were outside have managed to escape. And so they're going back into Mühlhausen. So I have to lay siege on Mühlhausen. That's unfortunate. The Brunswickers did all the work, by the way. General got some kills. He charged those arquebusiers at the beginning. Our piccolo mini cuirassiers did well. Never mind. The hill was nothing else but fire and smoke, like the thundering echo of a thunderclap, with the noise of cannon and musket. Indeed it was. Very fitting for this battle. So we're taking just a few prisoners, but I'm going to execute them anyway. Execute, because Gustavus is high bred. Well, it's only a game, it's not real life. In real life he wasn't high bred. Except to the Kaiser. Okay, so here are the units that managed to escape back into Mühlhausen. Some of them are full strength, almost, it seems. At least one of the cavalry units is full strength. So that's troublesome. What can you do? We have to face them again.
Yes. We shall slaughter them, my lord! Besieging the cowards, my liege!
You are my liege. I'm not a liege. You are the king.
Yes, sire. They're not going anywhere.
So, the king has laid siege on Mühlhausen.
An honor, sire.
And the Scots will go and help him with the siege. As reinforcements.
With honor, sire. Assembling a mighty host of your troops, sire.
Indeed. And I can send probably one more unit to the Scots from here.
Your will.
Yes. Combining forces, sire.
Okay, so I have 2 full stacks laying siege on Mühlhausen. Hopefully that'll be enough. It's going to be a bloody siege.
The Kaiser's finest yearn to face you in battle.
That's good to hear.
Where to, sire?
They had a very clever general called off the attack and retreated back into Mühlhausen. Okay, so here's another army in the vicinity of Mühlhausen. They could be troublesome. We sent our spy to have a look at them. And I'm going to send a spy to see whether there are any other enemy armies in the area. Nobody around here.
Of course, sire.
Oh, look at that. 3 armies. 3 reasonably big armies.
Face the might of the Reich, coward.
My goodness. Look at this.
You're but a mere Schwein.
And another imperialist settlement there. Heiligenstadt. That's annoying. And that was the episode for today. That was the month of February. Thank you for watching.